My own family betrayed me, shoving me into a rotting, mold-caked storage room at a luxury resort, while they basked in lavish suites, sneering at my pathetic life. Their cruel laughter echoed as they handed me a rusty key, spitting venom about my worthless job, thinking I'd crumble under their scorn. Every smirk stabbed my heart, but they didn't know. I clutched the master key to this entire empire in my trembling fist. The pain of their betrayal fueled my rage. Want to see how I shattered their arrogance with one devastating truth? Stick around, this story's about to get wild. That stinging betrayal still burns as I stand in the grand lobby of Emerald Bay Retreat, a 5-star haven I built from ashes on Oregon's rugged coast. I'm Nathan Carter, 36, the invisible son of the Carter family, a clan obsessed with wealth and status. They see my hospitality career as a glorified janitor's job, never knowing I own this 200-acre paradise of crashing waves and polished marble. My Aunt Evelyn and Uncle Richard, with their chain of grocery stores raking in millions, always led the charge. Their beachfront mansion in Newport, a 6,000-square-foot shrine to their ego, hosted family gatherings where my parents, Tom, a high school math teacher, and Linda, a pediatric nurse, were mocked as the humble ones. We'd pull up in our dented Ford, carrying homemade casseroles, while Evelyn's catered lobster platters stole the spotlight. Their kids, my cousins Olivia and Lucas, inherited that arrogance. Olivia, 39, married a tech CEO and plays reunion planner like a queen doling out favors. Lucas, 34, a hotshot lawyer, tosses smug jabs about my dead-end job. Still scrubbing toilets, Nate, he sneered last year, smirking over his whiskey. The annual Carter reunion, once a cozy tradition, morphed into a stage for their one-upmanship. This year, Evelyn picked Emerald Bay, my crown jewel, unaware I bought it for $12 million after its bankruptcy. I never told them. Why? To see how low they'd stoop when they thought I was nothing. As I watched them strut into the lobby, their designer luggage gleaming, my heart twists. Olivia's already whispering to Evelyn, pointing at me with a pitying smile. Hope Nathan can afford his share this time, she says, loud enough to sting. The rage simmers, but I'm not done watching their game unfold. The venom of Olivia's pitying whisper, hope Nathan can afford his share, still sears my chest as I trail the Carter family through the gleaming lobby of Emerald Bay Retreat. The ocean roars beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, mocking the storm brewing inside me. I'd spent years building this 200-acre sanctuary, yet my own blood treats me like a servant who wandered into their royal court. As we gather near the check-in desk, Olivia, with her perfectly manicured nails and Chanel sunglasses, takes charge like a dictator assigning prison cells. She hands out key cards with a flourish, her voice dripping with fake generosity. Evelyn and Richard, you're in the Pacific Crest Suite, 1,200 square feet with a private hot tub overlooking the dunes, she announces. Evelyn beams, clutching the glossy envelope as if it's a Nobel Prize. Lucas and his fiancée, you've got the coastal loft, wraparound balcony, 900 square feet, Olivia continues, tossing her brother a smug grin. Lucas winks, already planning his Instagram flex. My parents, Tom and Linda, get a standard room on the 3rd floor, decent but nothing special. It's fine, Nathan, my dad mutters, embarrassed, as if he needs to apologize for their place in this twisted hierarchy. Then Olivia turns to me, her smile sharpening like a blade. Nathan, you're in the Seagull storage, she says, sliding a plain key card across the counter, no envelope, no fanfare. It's quaint, but I'm sure you're used to roughing it. The lobby seems to freeze. Lucas snickers, and Evelyn's lips curl into a condescending smirk. Seagull storage? I ask, voice steady despite the rage clawing my throat. Olivia waves a hand. Oh, I had to pull strings with the manager to get it. We needed every inch for the family, and, well, you don't mind, right? Her tone implies I should be grateful for scraps. I grip the key card, my knuckles whitening, and head to the oldest wing of the resort, a 500-foot trek from the main building. The Seagull storage isn't a room, it's a disgrace. Tucked behind the service elevator, it's a 200-square-foot former storage closet, reeking of mildew, with a flickering fluorescent light and a twin bed sagging under a stained mattress. Cobwebs cling to the corners, and the window, barely a foot wide, faces a dumpster. The air conditioner groans like a dying engine, spitting warm air. I drop my bag, the weight of their disdain crushing my chest. This wasn't an oversight. Olivia chose this to humiliate me, to remind me I'm nothing in their eyes. I'd already texted my general manager, Claire, to ensure I'm treated like any guest in front of the family. No special treatment, I'd insisted, wanting to see how far they'd go. Now, I have my answer. Back in the lobby for the welcome reception, the Carters sip $200 bottle champagne, their laughter grating against my raw nerves. Lucas corners me near the hors d'oeuvres, his Rolex glinting. "So, Nate, still playing bellhop at some budget motel?" he asks, loud enough for nearby cousins to hear. "It's hospitality, Lucas," I reply, forcing calm. "Big difference." He chuckles, patting my shoulder like I'm a child. "Sure, buddy. Keep dreaming." Evelyn joins us, her diamond earrings catching the chandelier's light. "Nathan, dear, you really should consider a more stable career," she says, her voice coated in false concern. "This industry's so volatile, and at your age," she trails off, implying I'm a failure at 36. Olivia chimes in, holding a flute of champagne. "Don't worry, Mom. I made sure Nathan's room fits his lifestyle." Their laughter slices deeper than any knife, each jab a reminder of years spent proving myself to people who'll never see me. As the reception winds down, I overhear Olivia planning a private sunset yacht tour for the core family. My parents are invited, but my name's conspicuously absent. "Nathan's probably got work to do," she says to Linda, who looks uneasy but stays silent. The exclusion burns, a fresh wound on top of old scars. I slip away, my fists clenched, the master key in my pocket a silent promise. They think they've caged me in their game, but I'm watching, waiting, and the truth is sharper than their cruelty. The sting of Olivia's calculated exclusion from the yacht tour lingers like salt in an open wound as I stand alone on the rocky cliffs of Emerald Bay Retreat, the Pacific's roar drowning out my churning thoughts. Their laughter from last night's reception, Lucas's taunts, Evelyn's fake pity, echoes in my skull, but it's their dismissal that cuts deepest. They think I'm a nobody, a 36-year-old drifter scraping by in a dead-end job. They don't know the blood, sweat, and sleepless nights I poured into building Carter Coastal Ventures, the empire that owns this 200-acre coastal jewel. My journey wasn't handed to me on a silver platter like their wealth. It was carved from grit and defiance. I started at rock bottom, a kid from a modest Portland suburb, where my parents, Tom and Linda, stretched every dollar to keep food on the table. While Lucas bragged about his Ivy League trust fund, I worked 3 jobs, dishwasher, gas station clerk, delivery driver, to pay for community college. At 20, I landed a night shift at a rundown motel off Interstate 5, checking in truckers and cleaning spilled coffee for $8 an hour. It was thankless, but I studied every detail, how guests moved, what they valued, how a smile could defuse a complaint. That's where I met Helen Brooks, a sharp-eyed hotelier who saw something in me when I fixed a double-booked reservation crisis without breaking a sweat. "You've got instincts, Nathan," she said, her voice firm. "This industry's about creating moments, not just beds. Stick with me." I did. Helen mentored me through every rung of the hospitality ladder, front desk, concierge, operations manager, at properties from Seattle to San Diego. When she launched her own firm, I joined her, learning to spot diamonds in the rough, failing hotels with potential. At 30, I took my biggest gamble. Emerald Bay Retreat, a crumbling 1920s resort, hit the market for $12 million after bankruptcy. I scraped together $200,000 from savings, secured a brutal loan, and convinced Helen to back me as a silent partner. The renovation was hell, 18 months of 80-hour weeks, near financial ruin, and endless permits. But when we reopened, Emerald Bay dazzled, its 150 rooms booked solid, earning $5 million in its first year. Today, Carter Coastal Ventures owns 4 properties, but this one's my heart. I never told the Carters. Pride, maybe, or a need to prove they were wrong without their applause. So, when Evelyn announced this reunion at my resort, I saw a chance to test them. I met Claire, my general manager, in her office before the family arrived. "Treat me like any guest," I told her, my voice low. "No hints about who I am. I want their raw, unfiltered selves." Claire, who's seen me rebuild this place from rubble, raised an eyebrow. "You sure, Nathan? That storage room Olivia booked for you is a dump." I nodded. "Let's see how far they'll go." Now, on day 2, their game intensifies. At breakfast, I sit with Tom and Linda, who look out of place amid the clinking crystal and $30 omelets. Olivia strides over, her designer heels clicking. "Nathan, you missed the yacht tour." "I texted everyone, but maybe your room's signal is bad," she says, her smile venomous. I check my phone, nothing. "Must have gotten lost in the ether," I reply, swallowing my fury. Lucas, nursing a mimosa, leans in. "Don't sweat it, Nate. Boats aren't your scene. Stick to whatever you do." Their cousins chuckle, and my mom fidgets, her eyes pleading for peace. Later, I catch Evelyn lecturing a waiter about her coffee's temperature, her voice sharp. "For $400 a night, I expect perfection," she snaps, oblivious that I set that rate. Olivia, meanwhile, plans a private beach bonfire for select family, excluding me again. "Nathan's probably busy with emails," she tells a cousin, loud enough for me to hear. Each slight tightens the knot in my chest, but I stay silent, watching. Claire texts me updates. Olivia pressured the reservation team to unlock the Seagull storage, claiming Nathan won't care. The Carters think they're untouchable, but they're digging their own graves. My rage simmers, tempered only by the weight of the master key in my pocket, a quiet vow that their reckoning is coming. The Pacific's relentless waves crash against the cliffs below Emerald Bay Retreat, but they can't drown the rage and hurt boiling inside me after Olivia's latest jab about my absence from her exclusive beach bonfire. Each calculated slight from the Carter family, every smirk, every exclusion, has carved deeper into my soul, yet I've held my tongue, clinging to the plan to expose their true colors. But tonight, at the lavish family dinner in the resort's Ocean View ballroom, their cruelty reaches a new low, shattering my resolve and leaving me raw, exposed, and ready to unleash the truth. The ballroom glitters with chandeliers, its 2,000 square foot expanse filled with long tables draped in white linen, set with $50, plates seafood towers and local Pinot Noir at $150 a bottle. I sit near the end, flanked by my parents, Tom and Linda, who fidget uncomfortably in their modest attire amid the Carters' designer suits and glittering jewelry. Evelyn and Shu Richard hold court at the head, their voices booming with tales of their latest $2 million store expansion. Olivia, radiant in a $1,200 dress, plays the gracious host, while Lucas, his tie loosened after too many drinks, scans the room for his next target. I keep my head down, picking at my crab bisque, hoping to avoid their radar. But Lucas's eyes lock onto me, a predator sensing weakness. "Hey, Nate," he calls, his voice cutting through the chatter, drawing every head. "I overheard you on the phone by the pool today, talking about some big deal with your manager. What's that about? Finally getting promoted to head janitor?" The table erupts in laughter, glasses clinking as cousins and aunts join the mockery. My face burns, the memory of my call with Claire about a $500,000 renovation flashing through my mind. I'd been careful, stepping away to a quiet corner, but Lucas must have eavesdropped. Before I can respond, Evelyn leans forward, her diamond necklace glinting. "Oh, Nathan, don't let Lucas tease you," she says, her tone dripping with condescension. "If you had anything worth bragging about, we'd have heard it by now. You're not one to overachieve." The laughter swells, a chorus of scorn that echoes off the ballroom's vaulted ceiling. I glance at my parents, hoping for a flicker of defense, but Tom stares at his plate, and Linda grips her napkin, her eyes glistening with shame. Olivia, sensing blood, piles on. "Let's be real, Nathan," she says, her voice loud enough for the waitstaff to hear. "You're happy in your little world, right? No need to pretend you're closing million-dollar deals like Lucas or Richard. The room feels like it's collapsing, their words a sledgehammer to my heart. Even my parents, the ones who taught me to keep pushing, stay silent, cowed by Evelyn's influence. I realize they've been pressured all weekend to keep quiet, to avoid rocking the family boat. The betrayal cuts deeper than any insult, a knife twisting in my gut. I push back my chair, the scrape deafening in the sudden hush. "Excuse me," I mutter, my voice trembling with barely contained fury. I stumble out of the ballroom, past the stunned waiters, and onto the cliffside terrace, where the cold Oregon wind bites my face. Standing alone under a sky bruised with stars, I clutch the railing, my knuckles white. The master key in my pocket feels heavier than ever, a symbol of the empire I built while they laughed. Their mockery tonight wasn't just about my job, it was an attack on my existence, a public execution of the man I've fought to become. Helen Brooks's words echo in my mind, "You create moments, Nathan." But what moment can I create when my own family sees me as nothing? The pain is suffocating, but it's also a spark. I've watched their cruelty long enough. Tomorrow, they'll face the truth, and it'll burn hotter than their scorn. The bitter sting of last night's public humiliation at the Ocean View Ballroom, Lucas's jeering, head janitor, taunt, Evelyn's smug dismissal, and my parents' crushing silence, fuels my resolve as dawn breaks over Emerald Bay Retreat. Their laughter still rings in my ears, a vicious reminder of years spent as the Carter family's punching bag. But no more. Today, I'll rip away their illusions and show them the man they've mocked for decades. Standing in my private suite, a 1,500 square foot sanctuary with panoramic ocean views, I trade my casual clothes for a tailored navy suit, the kind I wear to close million-dollar deals. The master key in my pocket feels like a loaded gun, ready to fire the truth. I summon Claire, my general manager, to the executive office overlooking the 200-acre resort. "It's time," I tell her, my voice steady but laced with fury. "Gather the staff in the grand lobby at 10 a.m. sharp. I want the family there under the guise of a group photo." Claire, her eyes gleaming with understanding, nods. "They won't know what hit them, Nathan. I've endured their cruelty, Olivia's calculated exclusions, Lucas's venomous jabs, Evelyn's patronizing lectures, long enough. The plan I set before the reunion, to pose as a regular guest, has exposed their true selves. Now, they'll face the consequences." By 9:45 a.m., the Carters gather in the lobby, a 3,000 square foot masterpiece of polished marble and driftwood chandeliers. Olivia, in a $900 sundress, fusses over her photo setup, barking orders at a junior concierge. "Make sure the ocean's in the background," she snaps. Evelyn and Richard pose like royalty, their $10,000 watches glinting. Lucas, hungover but smug, slaps my back. "Ready to smile for the camera, Nate? Or do you need a mop for the shot?" I force a tight smile, my pulse pounding. Tom and Linda stand quietly, their faces etched with guilt from last night's silence. I catch my mom's eye, and she mouths, "I'm sorry, but it's too late for apologies." At 10 sharp, I step to the center of the lobby, Claire and the executive team flanking me. The staff, briefed overnight, line the perimeter, their uniforms crisp. I clear my throat, my voice cutting through the chatter like a blade. "Excuse me, everyone. Before we take this photo, I have an announcement." The Carters turn, confused, as murmurs ripple through the crowd. Olivia frowns, sensing something off. Lucas smirks, probably expecting another chance to mock me. Evelyn adjusts her scarf, unimpressed. "I am Nathan Carter," I declare, my tone cold and commanding, owner and CEO of Carter Coastal Ventures, and the sole proprietor of Emerald Bay Retreat. Gasps echo across the marble. Claire steps forward, her voice formal. "Good morning, owner, sir." The staff bows in unison, a choreographed display of respect that hits like a thunderclap. Evelyn's jaw drops, her diamond earrings trembling. Lucas chokes on his coffee, his smug grin evaporating. Olivia's camera slips from her hands, clattering to the floor. My parents' eyes well with tears, pride replacing their shame. I lock eyes with Olivia, whose face pales to ash. You booked me into a storage closet, thinking I'd take it, I say, my words sharp. You excluded me from every event, assuming I was too poor to belong. Turning to Lucas, I add, and you mocked my janitor job, oblivious that I've built a $20 million empire. Evelyn tries to speak, but I cut her off. I stayed silent to see how low you'd go. Congratulations, you showed me exactly who you are. The lobby is deathly still, guests and staff watching the Carters crumble. Claire, I say, move my belongings to the owner's suite. I'm done with their games. Tom steps forward, his voice breaking. Nathan, why didn't you tell us? I soften, but only for him. I needed to know if you'd see me without the title, Dad. Most of you didn't. Olivia stammers, Nathan, I didn't know. I raise a hand. You didn't need to know to treat me like family. The weight of their arrogance collapses under the truth, and for the first time, I feel free. The master key in my pocket, once a burden, now feels like a crown. The echo of my revelation in the 3,000 square foot lobby of Emerald Bay Retreat still hangs heavy, the Carters' stunned silence a stark contrast to their mocking laughter from last night's dinner. My words, I am Nathan Carter, owner and CEO, have shattered their smug hierarchy, leaving Evelyn's jaw slack, Olivia's face ashen, and Lucas's coffee-stained shirt a testament to his shock. But the storm isn't over. I've watched them belittle me for years, from shoving me into a moldy storage closet to excluding me from their yacht tours and bonfires. Now, they'll face the price of their arrogance in a language they understand, dollars and cents. After the lobby bombshell, I retreat to my 1,500 square foot owner's suite, its floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Oregon coast's crashing waves. Claire, my general manager, joins me, sliding a stack of itemized invoices across my desk. As you requested, Nathan, she says, her tone professional but tinged with satisfaction. Full rack rates for Evelyn, Richard, Olivia, and Lucas. Your parents and the kinder cousins get a 50% friends and family discount. I nod, scanning the numbers. Evelyn and Richard's Pacific Crest Suite, with its private hot tub and $1,200 a night rate, tallies $4,800 for their 4-night stay, plus $600 for the yacht tour and $400 for last night's seafood tower dinner. Olivia's coastal loft, at $900 a night, hits $3,600, with an extra $300 for her spa treatments. Lucas's bill, including his fiancée's champagne brunches, tops $3,200. My parents' modest room, discounted, costs them just $400. Fairness, I think, feels sharper than revenge. At noon, I return to the lobby, where the Carters are regrouping, their designer luggage piled high. Olivia approaches first, her eyes red from crying, clutching her invoice like it's a death warrant. Nathan, this bill, $200? It's outrageous, she stammers, her usual poise crumbling. We agreed on a $500 group rate. I lean in, my voice low and unyielding. You agreed to a group rate for standard rooms, Olivia. You chose the coastal loft, the yacht, the spa. You don't get to cherry-pick luxury and pay pennies. Her mouth opens, then closes, her manipulation unraveling under my gaze. Lucas storms over, his face flushed. This is a scam, Nate, $3,200 for a weekend? You can't do this to family. I cross my arms, unflinching. Family doesn't mock family, Lucas. You called me a janitor in front of everyone. These are standard rates any guest would pay. You're lucky I didn't add a surcharge for your attitude. He sputters, but Evelyn steps in, her diamond earrings glinting defiantly. Nathan, we're your elders, she says, her voice trembling with indignation. This is disrespectful. We've always supported you. I laugh, a sharp, bitter sound. Support? You shoved me into a closet and laughed when Lucas called me worthless. That's not support, it's contempt. Richard, silent until now, clears his throat. Let's be reasonable, Nathan. We can work out a family deal, right? His tone reeks of the same entitlement I've endured for years. No deals, I snap. You've taken enough from me, my dignity, my place in this family. Now you pay for what you used. Tom and Linda approach, their faces soft with gratitude as they show me their discounted bill. Nathan, this is too generous, my mom whispers, tears in her eyes. I squeeze her hand. You've always seen me, Mom. That's worth more than any sweet. As the Carters process their invoices, their reactions reveal their true selves. Olivia's tears turn to quiet shame, her apology barely audible. I didn't mean to hurt you, Nathan, she murmurs. Then why did you? I reply, my voice firm but not cruel. You chose to humiliate me. That changes now. Evelyn, still defiant, mutters about disputing the charges, but her bravado falters under Claire's calm explanation of our billing policy. Lucas storms off, cursing under his breath, while Richard scribbles a check, his silence admitting defeat. I've drawn a line in the sand, no more scraps, no more silence. The Carters will either respect me or leave my life. As they scatter to their rooms, I stand tall in my lobby, the weight of their judgment finally gone. The weight of the Carters' stunned faces after my lobby revelation and their grudging acceptance of their hefty invoices still lingers as I stand on the private terrace of my 1,500 square foot owner's suite at Emerald Bay Retreat. The Oregon sun dips toward the Pacific, painting the horizon in fiery orange, a stark contrast to the cold betrayal I've endured. For years, I let Evelyn's condescension, Olivia's manipulations, and Lucas's taunts define me, shrinking myself to fit their narrow view. But standing here, overlooking the 200-acre empire I built, I'm done hiding. Their cruelty, shoving me into a storage closet, mocking my life's work, silencing my parents, forced me to face a truth I'd buried. My worth isn't tied to their approval. It's time I share that lesson. This weekend wasn't about revenge, though the $4,800 bill for Evelyn's suite and Olivia's tearful apology felt like justice. It was about seeing who'd value me without a title. My parents, Tom and Linda, did, their eyes shining with pride when I revealed I owned this resort. But the others? They saw dollars, not me. That's the first lesson, your value isn't in others' eyes, it's in the truth you live every day. I spent years building Carter Coastal Ventures, turning a bankrupt property into a $20 million gem, not for their applause, but because it's who I am. You don't need a corner office or a mansion to prove your worth. Whether you're a teacher like my dad, a nurse like my mom, or scraping by at $10 an hour, your grit defines you. Apply this to your life. Stop letting others' judgments cage you. If someone dismisses your dreams, set boundaries. Tell them, like I told Olivia, you don't get to define me. Walk away from those who demand you shrink to fit their world. Celebrate your wins, big or small, a new job, a paid-off car, a kind word to a stranger. That's power. I learned this the hard way, standing alone on that cliffside terrace after their laughter tore me apart. But I also learned to forgive, not for them, but for me. When Evelyn muttered her half-hearted apology, I didn't absolve her, I freed myself from her grip. My parents joined me on the terrace, the ocean breeze carrying their quiet awe. Nathan, Linda says, her voice soft, we should have spoken up sooner. I shake my head. You loved me, Mom. That's enough. Tom grips my shoulder. You've built something incredible. We're so proud. Their words heal wounds I didn't know I carried. The Carters may never change, Evelyn still grumbling about her bill, Lucas sulking, Olivia calculating her next move, but I don't need them to. I've reclaimed my place, not just in this family, but in my own story. You can too. Live your truth, not someone else's script. Stand tall, even when they try to push you into the shadows. Your life is your empire, build it, own it, and never apologize for it. As the sun sinks below the Pacific, casting a golden glow over the 200-acre expanse of Emerald Bay Retreat, I stand on my suite's terrace, the weight of the Carter family's judgment finally lifted. Their stunned faces, from Evelyn's faltering bravado to Olivia's tearful apology, fade into the ocean's roar. I've reclaimed my truth, not just as the owner of a $20 million empire, but as Nathan Carter, a man who built his worth from nothing. Lucas may sulk, and Evelyn may cling to her pride, but I'm free. My parents, Tom and Linda, hug me tightly before they leave, their pride a balm to old wounds. We always believed in you, Tom says, his voice thick. I smile. I know, Dad. That's why I'm standing here. Now, it's your turn. Have you ever been underestimated, pushed into the shadows by people who should have seen your light? Drop your story in the comments, I read every one. Hit that like button if this tale of justice sparked something in you. Subscribe for more stories of breaking free, and share this with anyone who's faced a judgmental crowd. Next time, I'll dive into what happened at the Carter reunion a year later. Trust me, it's wild. Live your truth, own your story, and never let anyone dim your shine. Thanks for watching.